Hello, dear ones. Hope you are all well. Let's begin this morning by being quiet together. Let the stillness and the quiet of your own being come forward. Breathing and relaxing. Here now. Nowhere to go. No one to be. Nothing to do. Sink into the peace of self recognition and self radiance. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay, so I'm going to go off screen for a moment here. Something is playing in the background, and I need to find out why. Can you still hear me now? You can? Okay, that's good. Then I don't need to go off screen. Still new to this Zoom process. So we're now into our self-retreats for a month now, many of us. Some of you I know are very familiar with this part of yourself that's able to remain quiet and still. And you do this voluntarily from time to time. Others of you, this is a new experience, having long periods of time where your usual activities and your usual concerns have to fall away. And on top of that, you may feel that it's not, this is not a voluntary seclusion on your part. But I want to encourage you today to just keep letting go, keep falling into the silence of your own being that's there when the things that you normally use, you usually use to distract yourself, aren't available to you. If you're able to just relax and allow things to be as they are, you move closer and closer to the reason why we take up the inquiry in the first place, which is to come to know ourselves as we are, as silent, aware being. Sometimes when we start a spiritual practice or we take up a way of being, which is different from the way we've always been before, we do it because we're dissatisfied with our life as it was. And we begin to seek for another way of being in the world, another way of being in our daily lives. But for some reason, we aren't able to fully embrace it. So we have an idea of this is what it would be like to live an awakened life, to wake up from the dream that we're separate. But rather than just being, we start to pursue what our idea of awakening would be: a form, a way of being in the world which is different from how we were before, but still based on what our idea of awakening or enlightenment or being is. When we're put in the position, either voluntarily or involuntarily, like we are now, of having nothing to do and nowhere to go, we can suddenly find that our idea of what it would mean to be still, quiet, aware, and awake doesn't really hold up. Our idea is not the experience of being itself. In order to come to the recognition of who we are as being, consciousness, and bliss, it's necessary that we even let go of our ideas of what it means to be awakened, to be aware, to be enlightened. These are all just ideas, concepts. Initially, we replace our ideas about how we have been unawakened, unenlightened, with ideas of what we now believe we will be like when we are awakened, when we are enlightened. But when we come directly into a confrontation with our own minds, when we have the time to direct our attention to the question, who am I? What is aware here? Am I aware? What begins to crumble and can sometimes be hard to let go of is what our ideas of what it would be like to live an awakened life. When these ideas begin to crumble, we can go into a panic, a sadness, depression. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're supposed to do. And this is why I'm saying to you, do nothing. Just let go. To live an awakened life is to live fully in what is, whatever is, right now, in this moment, without complication, without resistance, with acceptance, surrender, with love and attention for what is, no matter what we think the source of that is, whether we voluntarily have gone into retreat to look at these kinds of questions, or whether we feel like we've been forced into this situation. Take this opportunity now that there's a degree of quietness and a degree of perhaps stopping in your life from your daily activities to really look at what you're clinging to. What was your life like before? Are you longing to get back to it? If you are not here now. Can you just allow what is here now? This is the gift you're being given by life itself. Whatever is here now, it's here for you to show you the way to live without mind. So just keep letting go. Understand that you are being held by life itself. That you are always being given exactly what you need at this moment. Some of you, I know through talking to you, are finding that this surrender of your ordinary way of being, of your life before, is difficult. Others of you find yourself having been stopped in the middle of situations that you wouldn't have chosen for yourself. Perhaps in a household where there are other people, people who are not following the path that you're following. You may feel like they don't understand you, they don't know who you are. In both cases, there's an opportunity for us to remain centered in our own awareness and to recognize that in this moment we have and we are being given everything we need for our awakening. Some people are being challenged by aloneness. Others, as I said, are being challenged by being in a house or a household that they wouldn't have chosen, but they find themselves there now as a result of this shutdown around the world. Can you accept and surrender to what is here now? This is always the question for us. Doesn't make any difference whether we're in a shutdown like this or whether we're living a busy life. The question remains the same. Can I remain here, now, alert with this, whatever this is? And can I realize that this, whatever it is my opportunity? How can I use this to awaken? In this way, we're able to free ourselves from circumstance. We're able to begin to see that the happiness we've been seeking in the world, in experiences, in other people, outside of ourselves, actually can only be found within our own being. Happiness has its foundation in consciousness, in being, not outside, not somewhere else, not in circumstances or conditions. So, regardless of what your circumstances are today, keep asking yourself this question: how can I use this? Until you realize there's nothing left for you to do, that you are here as being, consciousness, and bliss. And you have been that all along. Recognize that to pull back from circumstances while accepting them is the way to understand I am that which is aware. Being, consciousness, and bliss are my nature. There is nothing I need do but remain as I am. So, who has something they'd like to talk about or comment about? Anyone?
Rishi,
Hello.
hi. Um,
Who is this?
this is Kim up in Montreal.
Hello, Kim. Do you have
Um,
your camera off?
I no, it's on, but the screen says Yoga Bhavanas because somehow I'm connecting through my work account. It doesn't say
Ah,
you don't. Yeah,
there you are.
yeah. Hi,
Hello, happy to see you.
nice to see you too. Um, I'm going to ask this question, although I'm sure I know the spirit of the answer, anyways. But
Of
um,
course, of course.
and there you go. Um, at this time, uh, I find myself feeling, all sorts of, um, combination of anguish, anxiety, um, grief for now, anticipatory grief, and, I don't have a job anymore. And maybe the yoga studios where I work won't be able to open again, and so
Yes,
I do have just that difficulty right now of balancing the idea of beingness or letting go and surrender with engaging in the thoughtful action of like, geez, well, what am I going to do when this lifts and I have no money? Or, uh, it's always this question between letting go and engaging, and
yes,
I'm
yes.
sure there's a way that you can let go within the engaging or engage within the letting go, but somehow um, I don't find it so easy to think about or know
Right.
about, you know.
Yep. What can you do about it now, about the circumstances?
Um, a large part of the circumstance I can't do much about. The
Right.
only Right. The only thing I might think about is like, okay, so if the studios don't open, what else might I be able to do for work? That's kind of, you know,
Yes,
that's
yes.
kind of it. I mean, I'm an
And
artist.
interesting, yes, that's right. And interestingly enough, one of the things so unsettling for all of us, really, people all around the world, is that we started off this situation um, being told that we need to stay home for 2 weeks, and then this would, end the virus or whatever, it would begin to slow down. It wouldn't be long before we'd all go back to our whatever our idea of normal is. But now, after 4 or 5 weeks, it's becoming clearer to everyone
Yeah.
that this may take a longer than we thought.
Yeah.
And things may never return to the way they were. And of course, this brings up fear, and the mind tries to, in some ways, cope with that fear by trying to look ahead, trying to anticipate, and so on. The reason I asked you the question, what can you do about it?
Because it clarifies a lot right
Um,
there. Uh, yeah. Yeah. You clarify.
yeah, is to try to get you to really come back into this moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In order to come to this moment, there's this kind of fear or this kind of anticipatory thing going on. We really have to let go of what might come in the future. The reason we can let go of what might come in the future is because we all have the experience that no matter how much we think about things, no matter how much we plan, it's almost never, if it is ever, that the way that we anticipated, the way that we envisioned, the way that we planned actually came about. And if we look back, we can say, oh, yeah, all of that thinking, all of that fear based anticipation was for nothing, all of that stress and so on, because we see that it didn't turn out the way that we thought it would turn out anyway. It turned out some way, but not the way we were anticipating it.
Right.
So I just encourage you to keep up the self discipline of returning to the here and now and finding your peace in that. And I don't mean that you look there and what you find is peace. I
Right.
mean, make your peace with what is here, what is now. And of course, there will come a moment when it'll be clear to you that there is an opportunity to do some planning, make some phone calls, uh, begin to find a way to answer the question, what is my normal now? What is my life like now? But the opportunity that's here now in this moment is actually to say, all right, I must trust life itself.
Right.
However you see that, I use the word life itself, the eternal, the Lord, God, however that is for you, however that's felt in a very deep way. We must begin in this kind of a period of time, especially trust that that is okay and it will be okay, and that whatever comes, we will be there for it. This gives us the opportunity to really use this moment in which we don't know what will happen, right? We don't know what the future will bring, but what we do know, what we can know, is that I am aware here now. So while it's natural in this kind of a circumstance when everything has been lost, there is no job, right? There is nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Even this habitual way of anticipating what will happen in the future is of no use right now. To accept all of this and to trust life itself is a big step. It's a big step. So understand, be kind to yourself, but understand this is the step you're making. Are you willing?
Yeah.
Can you be here now in this present moment? Because if you are here in this present moment right now, as we're sitting here talking,
Yeah.
you can notice that as soon as you're able to put all of that aside, there is within you a sense of well being. For this moment, everything is okay. So then, seeing this moment, this recognition, I am aware, I am here, I am surrendered in this moment. This becomes our refuge.
Right.
Because the truth of the situation is only when we have this, then the question can be asked, am I going to fully allow myself to be present in this moment and to find my inner joy in this moment? Or am I going to miss the moment completely as I anticipate and project into the future? They're missing the here now.
Right. Just
Even if here now
nothing.
is not what I'd like. Hmm?
Your voice or recording is getting a little bit digitized, so it's kind of splicing your words in a funny way. I don't know if that's just me hearing you or if
Yeah.
everybody is kind of going, it's
Yeah. No, that's actually the way
that's,
I'm hearing you as well.
oh, is it? Okay. So okay, so
That's
okay, it's a mutual
that's
like
yeah,
that.
that
That's
seems to
Zoom
be a
land.
consequence of
Okay.
this.
That's Zoom land. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Zoom land.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Um, one of the things that's we've discovered seems like is that the recordings, which we usually try to post the next day of the song, for some reason the voice is always clear on both sides.
Oh,
So
good.
it's in real time that
Yeah.
the Zoom world thing happens. So if if you find that you've missed something, um,
Tune in tomorrow.
yeah, tune in tomorrow. But also, if it seems as though in my answer or in my comment to you, I've missed something, you might have to restate something because sometimes I now know, we all know, that I also sometimes miss a word or a phrase in what you're saying, and then that changes the meaning of what you're saying as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So this is that time, that very difficult time, even on a voluntary retreat, which lasts, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Those of you that have been on longer retreats, you know this. There is this period of time where you sink more and more deeply into whatever it is that stops you from realizing that you are here now or that you are awake being. And usually it's something like you're talking about. It's usually some kind of future thing, you know, even though you've made the commitment to block out that period of time. um, you can see that when there's only 1 week left on your retreat and you know that the mind starts going into what starts planning what's going to happen next after you leave the retreat, and thereby causing you to miss a great deal of the last week of your retreat because you're projecting out into what will happen next. So one of the funny, beautiful things about this is that every time we think we might be coming toward an end, our governments all announce we're going to go another 2 weeks. And so this really causes us to causes the things that the cloud castles that we've built with the mind to collapse and deflate again. And this can be very challenging for people, for all of us. So, patience, stay present moment by moment, do the best you can, be kind to yourself, be kind to this mind. This isn't just an opportunity for us to think about how we might want to change our society as we open up again. Now that we've all seen that the planet is really benefiting all of us staying home, so we can see blue sky and we're speaking unclear, and dolphins show up in strange places that they haven't for a long time. So we can see that there's silver lining to difficult for the planet itself. We also have to look for those moments of peace and solitude present for us when we finally accept, I can't do anything about this. I don't know where this is going. All I do is be here now. So surrender, accept, relax as much as possible, remain alert. Know I am here. Awareness is here. And I am aware that I am aware. And see this opportunity to really go deeply into the center of being and ask this question, not what will happen next, but who am I? And if I'm concerned about what will happen next, who am I concerned about? In this way, we're able to go more and more deeply into ourselves and begin to look for the source of being, for the source of all life. And in this way, we can use this opportunity that we're being given, while at the same time supporting ourselves, having compassion for ourselves, for our situation, compassion for those who are suffering, who don't have it as fortunate as we have it, that we have a roof over our head, we have food. For now, we are healthy. You see, now is all we have. And there are many, many people all around the planet right now who are already beyond that. They've already lost their health, their work. Some have already lost their homes. People are really, really struggling now. So our task is to recognize the blessings which are still here in our lives and to offer love, compassion, psychic and emotional support to the whole world now. And know that we'll be taken care of in the way that we need to be taken care of. And if we have to go through more difficult times, we will go through them knowing that in those moments there will also be blessings. And we will discover things about ourselves that we didn't know before. So have
Great.
faith. Yes.
Hi, it's Noelle. I had a
Hello,
question.
Noel. I can see you.
Oh, um, so I find that a lot of my suffering is about me saying no to what is happening currently.
Very good.
And
Very good.
so there's this, I don't know if it's a good trick or a bad trick that I play on myself, um, that might have consequences that I'm not seeing. So I wanted to ask you what you thought.
Hmm.
So when I can remember, sometimes I take the thing that I'm suffering from and literally say yes to it. Like, I'm saying yes to my suffering with my job, or I'm saying yes to the fear about my health.
Yes.
I'm just going to say yes to it. And
Yes.
I don't want to get in a position where I'm all powerful and I'm kind of directing things. And so I'm concerned, or I wonder if saying yes is still more control. When I said no before, um, is saying yes, putting myself in a position of directing, so to speak. Or, I mean,
Hmm.
just what do you think about that practice? Yes to isolation, yes to the uncertainty. Um,
Yes. Yes. I really do think that that is the way to be able to say yes to what is here now. Just unravels our whole tendency to resist, to go into um, fight mode with the way that life happens to be right now. So I really do agree with you that to say yes changes the equation considerably. So I think go ahead and keep up that practice. Now, understand that just by saying yes does not necessarily mean that the circumstances will change overnight,
mhm.
right? So if saying yes, I think what I'm wanting to say is if saying yes becomes your strategy to cope, you can just expect that because it's a strategy to cope, it will eventually fail because all strategies eventually fail. And the reason they fail is to our benefit. It's so that we can look at the next layer of what is under the strategy, right? We always got to look deeper than what the mind is telling us. But for right now, to say yes to what is here, this is the way. What is it is here. So we can either fight, resist, push it away, or we can say, all right, yes. And this is what I was saying to Kim, is we look at the situation right now and we say, okay, yes, yes, I have no resistance to this. Now, maybe in this act of no resistance, I can actually see the benefit of it. So I can watch myself become quieter, become simpler, become willing to just be here with the situation the way that it is. So, yes, carry on. Keep saying yes.
When I can remember.
I once I once met uh, a friend in Brazil when I was living there. And we've stayed in touch all these years. And we used to have long, long conversations about all sorts of interesting things like this. And she was a very strong spiritual practitioner. And after I was around her for about a month, she was a neighbor. So I would see her almost every day and we would have some conversations. And I said, I noticed something about you. That is that in this time that I've known you, I've never ever heard you say no to anyone about anything. You always say yes. You're probably the most positive person that I've ever met. And she said, the reason I always say yes is because when I say yes, I don't resist life. I just say yes. And she said, I've discovered that 90% of what I say yes to doesn't happen anyway. But I say yes to life in case it wants it to happen. And if it does happen, I'm happy. And if it doesn't happen, I'm happy. But the decision isn't mine. And I thought this was just brilliant. It stayed with me all of these years. So, yeah, I encourage you, just keep saying yes. Let whatever is here, here, be here, and know that even if it's fear or difficulty or challenge, that you can still invite this into your life and say, I don't know why you're here, but welcome. And if I have something to learn from you, okay.
Thank you.
All right, dear ones, there is so much happiness and so much gratitude to be able to spend this time with you all, to see you all, to know that you're well. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urva Rugamiva Bandhanam Mukshiyamumritawa Svaha Bhuva Bhu Om Sat Jung Hung Om. Please continue to offer your love, your kindness, and your support to all beings. May they all be well, happy, and peaceful. Be kind to yourselves. Be loving toward yourselves, your families, your neighbors. You are that which is aware. You are here in the world as being, consciousness, and bliss. Hari Om Tat Sat.